My name's Howard, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Howard.
That was really good, Pat. I actually came out looking better than I thought. I probably ought to just quit right here. But
He can't hear you. Here. Oh,
I wouldn't want you not to be able to hear me. So, I just kind of go along with what Pat was saying, the things that have helped me the most in the program in terms of strengthening our relationship. To start with, my dad, who was an alcoholic, my dad died sober at an AA meeting in 1950. He joined AA in 46. I didn't know anything about AA, but I knew there was such a thing, and then the meetings kind of were in secret, you know. But I'd never been to an AA meeting, but I knew there were AA meetings. And my dad used to call me a quarter horse on a mile track. That I'd go like hell to start with, but I pretty soon would lose interest, and then I'd go like hell on something else. And I could get stuff done, but not one thing for very long, although I generally kept jobs for a while. And I stayed basically on the same career path. And I fell in love with Pat when we were in the 7th grade. Now that's the truth. I just fell in love with her, and I have loved her ever since. Except when I hated her. But I had and it's like she said, I learned that it's essential to be right. I didn't know I knew that, but it was essential for me to be right, to have any sense of well-being. And if you believe something different than I believed, it was essential to my sense of well-being that you know you're wrong. And I kind of dominated our relationship. We fought all the time. I did not know why in the hell she was fighting me, but we fought all the time, and I drank more and more as time went on. And it came to AA, and if any of you have seen the TV show, my name is Bill W. with James Wood, and you know, Bill went along as a selfish practicing alcoholic right up till 1935. Then he finished his life as a selfish practicing AA member and left Lois out in the cold all the way through. Now, the thing that bled through in that movie to me was that fact, that's the way I was. I had been selfish, and I came to AA, and you said, you know, your problem is you're selfish, and never say no to an AA request. And who would want to? You know, nobody ever said don't say no to your wife's request, but don't say no to an AA request. And that is commitment, and that is something I never had before. So I learned commitment, and then I learned commitment not to drink. And the problems in my life became damn near immobilizing and overwhelming at work, and I knew not to drink. I was committed not to drink. I knew drinking would make it worse. And then Pat, and then I had to commit not to commit suicide. And then I committed to be faithful to Pat. And it's not that I was unfaithful to Pat, but it was that I was not committed really at the level of commitment to not be unfaithful. And that added a strength in my life. That came to me from my experiences in AA and my observation of people that made commitments and people that didn't. And I learned that in AA to be committed to be faithful to Pat. And then she and I made a commitment that we were going to stay together, that separation was not an option, and I committed to myself, when we get in a fight, I no longer get to think, well, that's it, I'm out of here. Or by God, she better get Clarence Darrow for her lawyer, because I'm going for, and I just, when I made the commitment, and a commitment is something different than anything else. But I made the commitment, and I had a toehold into faith when I made it. A sense of security came from the commitment, and a sense of freedom. And I realized that I'd always been subliminally afraid to commit to the relationship because I was subliminally afraid I would be trapped. But once I really made the commitment, it set me free. It gave me a freedom in the relationship and a sense of security that I never had. And I saw I was always trapped in the uncommitment. That was the trap, was being uncommitted. And those were things that were helping, those things got to spill over and help a relationship. But the fact is, I had known Pat all my life, and we communicated. We communicated wonderfully. It was just that her words meant something different to her than her words meant to me. For example, I don't want to do that. When she said that, meant to me, oh, she wants to do it all right, but she wants to negotiate. She wants me to put some more into the pot so that I will owe her for her doing this thing as if it was something special. It's something she wants to do anyway, but she's just negotiating. Well, I don't mind owing her because I don't pay off anyway. I just owe. Now, I don't know, I think these things, but I'm telling you, I can look back and see that's the way I thought. So when she says, I don't want to go to Fresno, I know she's going to go to Fresno. And so when we get into we're all set for the debate, and I have my reasons, and then she says, if it causes you pain for me not to go to Fresno with you, I love you enough to help you go through the pain. I did react, but the crisis hadn't happened. I wasn't aware that the crisis had happened. That the crisis was there, but I wasn't aware of it. And how I became aware of it was, this was the way she is now. And I don't care about the Fresno thing, that works out. But now there's this next thing, whatever the hell it is, and let's do it. And she says, no, I don't want to do that. Now I have learned that means no. Well, that is bad. And now things start getting anxious. And I say, God damn it, we're married. Married people do things together. To which she says, we do, now you're not going to get away with that, because we do a lot of things together. But we're not going to do this. Jesus Christ. Wow. How in the hell do you handle that? You get mad. That's how you handle it. And then you just lick your wounds, and pretty soon, you're doing stuff together, and then there's something else you won't do. And it got so bad, and my mom died. I was about 8 years sober by this time, and my mom died. And I went into a slump, which surprised, and I wasn't prepared to go into any slumps. And things were really working good for us, except for her lousy attitude. And it got so bad that my sponsor, who's in the next room talking about how to do a fourth step, suggested that maybe I should do another inventory. And I did an inventory, and it was a mamby-pamby inventory. I resented Pat, and the resentments, I resented some people at work, and I resented her lack of cooperation and her rotten attitude. But I really loved her, and I really knew we were together, and there wasn't anything earth-shaking in the attitude, in the inventory, until I got to the selfishness. And I put down stuff where I was selfish, and then it just came to me out of the clear blue sky. And I did not know this about myself. I did not see this until I saw it in doing this inventory when I was at the selfishness, self-seeking thing. And in there, I remembered that when Pat started to go to Al-Anon, she said something to me about Al-Anon, and I, with 2 or 3 weeks sobriety, said, Al-Anon is all right. They use our steps. If you use our steps, it will improve your life. But I understand that the problem was that the members of the family and the friends of the alcoholic were becoming intrusive into the AA meetings, and in order to protect AA from that interference, Bill asked Lois to start Al-Anon just to keep you guys the hell out of our meetings. When there was another 12-step program, Pat was going to go to OA. And when she said that, I said, they use our steps. You go, it'll help you. And I had never been to OA, knew nothing about it, but I said, but I suspect that if there were as many drunk people in AA meetings as there are fat people in OA meetings, I wouldn't go to goddamn AA. There was a series of those. That's the way I was. I did not know I was that way. I knew nothing about Al-Anon. I knew nothing about anything. But I reacted to everything like I knew everything. And I took a position of authority, and it dawned on me that when I was a baby elephant, in my family, the father and the husband was the authority. And Pat never had that experience. That wasn't what she was looking for. What she was looking for, I saw, was a higher power, and I saw it wasn't going to be me. And I also saw, I don't want to be her higher power, really. Hell, I don't want to be God in her life. And I saw I was locked into that. And I didn't know I was locked into it. I don't think I could have ever found out in any other kind of therapy other than the steps in AA. And I did see that, and I did a 5th step, and I didn't get closure. The 4th step was very revealing, but in the 5th step, it was okay, but it wasn't like the other 5th step I'd taken. And so I took a 5th step again. And then I looked in the book, and it said something about you could share your 5th step with never say anything to your family that's going to hurt them. And I thought, hell, Pat, this would not hurt. And then it dawned on me, And I asked Pat if she, and so I read that part of the 5th step to her. And I prefaced it by saying, you say you don't have reasons. Yet the stuff you're doing is strengthening our lives in such a way that if you weren't doing what you're doing, then I would never be doing another 4th step, and I would have never seen this stuff about myself. So what you're doing is working wonderfully, and I want to give you some reasons for you to do what you're doing. And I read that to her. Now I know neither one of us would have ever seen it. We could have gone on for goddamn ever being the way we was and staying married and never experiencing the growth that we experienced from that. But I'll tell you this, she has never forgotten the reasons. She saw it when I read that stuff to her, And not that she needed a toehold, but boy, she sure took a toehold for sure. And that has done nothing but strengthen us. And there's levels of commitment that I'm committed to commit, but that's just the first part of the deal. Somehow I have to have on any commitment a level of conviction, a belief. I can't describe it other than that, a conviction that there's some other thing other than this thing I'm doing and I have to see it at a deep level and feel it at a deep level in order to actually commit and then dismiss the other thing as an option, to really dismiss it as an option. Drinking and using is not an option. Committing suicide simply isn't an option. Getting separation, getting divorce, that's not even, that doesn't enter into. I will also tell you, if I drank again, I'd probably be out of there in 15 minutes. If I was consistent, if I was unfaithful, I don't expect her to put up with that. I don't expect me to. That would change the whole picture. But those things aren't options. So the commitment, that there's levels of commitment that I'm working on now that I'm still working on, and I suppose there always will be. I would like to not be, when Pat does get mad at me, I would like for that to be all right with me. I would like to not be hurt by what she says when she's mad at me. I'm not there yet. And there's some other stuff, but I'm committed to being there, because that's the answer. Her not getting mad isn't the answer any more than my not getting mad isn't the answer, because, God damn it, I'm going to get mad sometimes. And it's not going to have anything to do with her, but I'm going to get mad at her because there's something else, and I'm committed for that not to happen. But I think I better be committed to not letting her anger hurt me first, because anyway, it's a wonderful life. It truly is. I love my life. I don't want anybody else's life. I don't want anybody else's wife. And none of this could be. I know what's going on in our culture. We have a great culture. But there's nothing going on in our culture that could have given us what we have except the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and Al-Anon. And we're both doing two different things with exactly the same thing, searching and finding and strengthening our relationship with our God of our understanding, and that there's nothing else going on in our culture where we could do that. And I love you guys, and thank you for letting me share.